All right, ready to jump into Velo Labs?
Let's do it.
Today we're going to try to really get a grasp on this whole cross-border payment system they're building and figure out how this Velo token kind of makes it all tick. We've got a ton of sources here. Articles, price predictions, even some interesting chatter from Binance Square.
Looks like it's going to be an interesting one.
It really does. So what makes Velo Labs stand out to you? What really caught your eye when you were going through all this stuff?
Well, I think what's interesting is they're not just another DeFi platform, right?
Right.
They're really aiming to bridge that gap between traditional finance and DeFi. They're working with banks and money transfer operators.
Wow, that's pretty ambitious.
That's a bold strategy.
It is. It is. That kind of feels like it goes against that whole decentralized ethos of crypto, doesn't it?
It does. There's definitely a tension there.
Yeah.
But I think, Velo Labs is betting that if they work within that system,
they can actually drive adoption faster and reach a wider audience.
Interesting. So tell me a little bit more about this Velo protocol.
Sure.
How does it actually work to enable these faster and cheaper transactions across borders?
So it's all built on a digital credit issuance system, and it's built on blockchain technology. Essentially, you have these trusted partners, and they can issue digital credits, which are backed by real-world assets.
Gotcha.
And these credits can then be transferred quickly and securely across borders using the Velo protocol.
That makes sense. And where does this Velo token come into play?
Well, the Velo token is essentially the fuel that powers the whole system. It's used as collateral to back those digital credits, which helps to maintain that stability within the ecosystem. Imagine you want to borrow a book from the library, right? You might have to leave like a small deposit to make sure you bring the book back.
Velo is kind of acting like that deposit. It's ensuring the integrity of the whole system.
Well, that's a good analogy. So it's not just people buying Velo and hoping it goes up in price.
Exactly. It's got a real utility within the Velo Labs ecosystem.
Gotcha. So I know a lot of our listeners are pretty savvy with crypto, but we did see a lot of people asking about how to actually get Velo, since it's not on Binance right now.
It's not currently traded on Binance.
So for those who are curious, let's break it down real quick. 2 ways to get it right.
So you can go through a centralized exchange, kind of your typical trading platform, or you can go the decentralized route using DES.
DEX. I've got to admit, that sounds a little...
It's a bit more adventurous.
A little more adventurous,
A little bit more technical know-how. So you'd need a wallet, like Trust Wallet. Connect it to a DEX like PancakeSwap, and then swap your BNB for Velo.
Wow. Okay, so that's like venturing out into the wild west of crypto.
It can feel that way, but you do have more control over your assets.
I see. So speaking of the Binance community, we saw some pretty interesting conversations and even rumors popping up on Binance Square. One that caught my eye was this story about a trader who supposedly made bank by buying a ton of Velo just before it was listed on Binance.
That's interesting.
Something like 2.45 million Velo for 100 ETH.
Wow.
I mean, is it even possible to predict these kinds of moves in the market?
I mean, it's definitely possible to, anticipate some listing announcements and try to capitalize on them. But consistently predicting market movements, especially in crypto, is another story. There's always an element of luck involved. Those insider tips you see online. Take those with a grain of salt.
Big grain of salt. Speaking of hype, there was this pretty wild theory going around about a potential rug pull orchestrated by someone claiming to be a Velodrome insider. Basically, they were saying this big holder was going to crash the price, buy back in lower, and then pump it back up again.
Interesting.
Do you think there's any truth to that?
Well, it's important to remember this is all unverified and coming from an anonymous source. So impossible to say for sure without any concrete evidence, but it does raise some questions about market manipulation, especially in, newer and less regulated markets like crypto.
Right. Always got to be careful.
Absolutely.
So do your research. Don't trust everything you see online.
For sure.
So let's move away from the speculation for a bit. And look more at this Web3 plus ecosystem that Velo Labs is building.
Sounds good.
It goes beyond just DeFi, right?
It does.
They're trying to create what they say is a more inclusive financial system.
You've
got all these components too, with these really kind of cool names. Quantum, Universe, Nova Chain, Orbit, and Warp.
Right, a whole interconnected universe.
Yeah. So walk me through how these all work together.
Okay, so imagine a world where you can send money across borders as easily as sending an email.
Okay, yeah.
That's the vision.
I like that.
Behind the Web3 plus ecosystem. And each of these components plays a crucial role in making that a reality.
Let's break it down. What's quantum?
So quantum is like the foundation.
Okay.
It's like that high-speed rail connecting all their trusted partners.
Okay.
It's like a blockchain-enabled superhighway for transferring value.
I like it. The superhighway.
Yeah. Quickly and securely across borders.
Okay, what about Universe?
Universe is their multi-chain decentralized exchange, or DEX. And it's not just for trading Velo.
Okay.
It's designed to facilitate low-cost trading of, a whole range of global assets.
So it's bridging traditional finance and DeFi?
Exactly, in a very tangible way.
Okay, so we got the superhighway, we got the trading hub. What's Nova Chain?
Nova Chain is the backbone of the whole thing.
Okay.
It's their own EVM-compatible blockchain.
Okay, which means it can talk to other blockchains that use the same technology.
Gotcha.
And it's built for affordability too.
Okay.
Which makes it easier for developers to build on top of it.
So it's like the foundation that everything else is built on.
Exactly.
Then there's Orbit.
Yeah, Orbit, their crypto super app.
This is where things get interesting, especially for like the average person, right?
Right. Imagine an app that makes transferring crypto as easy as sending a text or making a mobile payment.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Orbit.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, they want to make crypto accessible to everyone.
Not just the techie people.
Exactly.
And then finally, Warp.
Warp, their cross-chain bridge.
Okay.
This is a crucial piece because it lets assets move freely between different blockchains.
Okay.
It's like a universal translator for the blockchain world.
So connecting all the blockchains together.
Yeah, for seamless interoperability.
That's pretty impressive. Okay, so I'm getting a better picture of this whole Web3 plus thing.
Good.
But what about the price of Velo? I mean, we saw people on Binance Square throwing out some pretty big predictions.
Yeah.
Everything from like Symphony Fits to $4. Even some talk of a new all-time high. What do you make of all that?
Well, remember, price predictions, especially in the crypto world, are highly speculative.
Right.
Velo has seen its share of volatility, right? Hitting an all-time high of $2.06 and a low of 0.0001.
Whoa, that's a big difference.
It is quite a range.
Yeah. So sounds like it could be a pretty risky investment.
Well, like any investment, there are risks. Yeah. But what's interesting about Velo is the price isn't just driven by speculation.
Okay.
It's tied to the utility of the token within the Velo Labs ecosystem.
Okay.
So as adoption grows and more people use the Velo protocol, that demand for Velo could increase, potentially driving up the price.
Okay, so it's not just about buying and hoping for the best.
Exactly.
You got to understand the tech, the team, the problems they're solving. Right.
Yeah,
That's how you make good decisions, right?
That's how you make informed investment decisions in any market, really.
All right, great advice. Well, that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into Velo Labs.
All right.
We've covered a lot, but there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah, definitely.
So make sure to come back for part 2, where we're going to delve even deeper.
We'll get into the weeds.
Yeah, into the weeds. We'll see you then.
See ya. Welcome back. So last time we were looking at, Velo Labs' whole ecosystem.
Yeah, their quantum superhighway, that Orbit super app.
Right, all that.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but what really intrigues me?
What's that?
The potential to really change how we do cross-border payments.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that market is begging for a shakeup.
Yeah, it's definitely ripe for disruption.
I mean, it feels like it's stuck in the Stone Age sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, just last month, I tried sending money to my sister overseas. The fees were insane. It took forever.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And, I had no clue where the money was half the time.
Yeah, you're just kind of in the dark.
It's yeah, exactly. So Velo Labs is promising something completely different.
Right.
But can they actually, pull it off?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
I mean, their vision is compelling.
Yeah.
But they've got some serious challenges ahead of them.
Like what?
Well, first of all, they got to convince all those big financial institutions to actually use this new technology.
And that's a tough sell.
It's not going to be easy.
Especially because, the crypto world and traditional finance, they seem like they're on opposite sides of the universe.
There's two different worlds, and Velo Labs is right in the middle trying to bridge that gap.
It's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else? What other challenges do they have?
Well, they've got to address all those concerns about security, regulatory compliance, even the potential impact on those existing business models.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, if you're a bank and this new technology comes along, it could completely disrupt your whole way of doing things.
It's not just about, like, building the tech.
No, it's much bigger than that.
It's about all these relationships and regulations.
This whole web of, interconnected things.
Yeah. And then what about just regular people? Like everyday users. Do they trust this stuff?
Yeah, building that trust is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Crypto still has that, Wild West kind of reputation.
Yeah, a little bit shady sometimes.
Yeah, and they're going to have to convince people that their platform is safe, reliable, and easy to use.
Yeah. And they've got a lot of competition too.
Oh, absolutely.
Other companies doing the same thing.
It's a crowded space.
So it's not going to be a walk in the park for them.
Not at all.
So for our listeners out there, the key takeaway here is that Velo Labs is it's a fascinating case study.
It really is.
This intersection of technology, finance, and almost like social engineering, right?
Yeah, because they're not just trying to change the tech.
Right.
They're trying to change how people think about money.
How it moves around the world.
Exactly. Their vision is really ambitious.
It is. So you mentioned that Velo Labs uses the Stellar Consensus Protocol.
Right.
I got to admit, my blockchain knowledge is a little rusty.
Sure.
What's so special about that protocol, and why do you think they went with that one?
It's a great question. And their choice actually tells us a lot about their priorities.
Oh.
So remember we were talking about how slow and expensive those traditional payments are?
Yeah, it's like pulling teeth.
Right. Well, Stellar is known for being super fast and efficient.
Oh, okay.
Really low transaction fees.
So that aligns with Velo Labs' whole, faster and cheaper thing.
Exactly. They needed a protocol that could handle a ton of transactions quickly and affordably.
Okay, so it's all about, like, finding the right tool for the job.
Yeah, exactly. And Stellar also has this reputation for being more inclusive than some other blockchains.
In what way?
Well, it's designed to connect people and businesses globally, regardless of their financial status.
So it's not just for, like, the wealthy elite.
Exactly. And that really resonates with Velo Labs' whole vision of creating a more inclusive system.
So it's not just sending money faster.
Right.
It's about giving more people access to financial tools.
Exactly. It's a much broader vision.
Okay, I see how it all ties together.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So we talked about Velo Labs wanting to make crypto accessible to everyone. But is this Orbit super app really the answer?
Well, that's the big question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are people ready to manage their finances through a crypto app?
Right. That's a big leap for a lot of people.
It is. But Velo Labs is betting that by making Orbit really user-friendly and intuitive, they can overcome that perceived complexity of crypto.
So kind of like how mobile banking apps changed everything.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
They're hoping Orbit will be the crypto equivalent of that.
But even with a user-friendly app, there's still a learning curve.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And let's be real, crypto security can be kind of scary.
It can be intimidating.
How do you think they're going to deal with that?
Security is definitely a top priority for them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to focus on user education. Build in some really robust security features into the app.
Like what?
Think two-factor authentication.
Okay. Yeah.
Clear explanations of how to store your private keys safely. Maybe even partner with, some big cybersecurity firms to audit their systems.
Oh, yeah, because losing your crypto to a hack.
It's a nightmare.
Total nightmare, yeah.
Nobody wants that.
So they've got to convince people that this is actually safer than traditional banks.
Which, have their own vulnerabilities.
Yeah, all those data breaches we hear about all the time.
Exactly. It's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
You're getting more control over your assets, but you're also taking on more responsibility for security.
Right. Okay, so
it's a balancing act.
This is interesting, though, right?
Yeah.
Velo Labs is partnering with these traditional institutions to bridge the gap with DeFi. But they're also kind of competing with them at the same time.
That's a good point. It's like they're trying to disrupt the system from within.
Yeah. And that means playing by the rules of that system.
Right, which can be tricky.
So navigating those regulatory hurdles is going to be huge for them.
It's going to be key to their success.
But it's not just about compliance.
Right.
It's about transparency, too.
Absolutely.
Accountability.
Yeah, because one of the big criticisms of traditional finance is that lack of transparency.
Right. It's like a black box.
You don't know what's really going on behind the scenes.
So how does blockchain tech help with that?
Well, the beauty of blockchain is that it's inherently transparent.
Okay.
Every transaction is recorded on a public ledger.
So you can see where the money's going.
Exactly. Yeah. You can track the movement of funds, and that could bring a whole new level of accountability to the financial system.
Okay, so even if Velo Labs doesn't, take over the world,
right,
their efforts could still lead to a more transparent industry overall.
Yeah, which is a win for everyone.
So for our listeners, remember, investing in a company like Velo Labs, it's not just about the price of the token.
It's bigger than that.
It's about a vision for a better financial system.
Exactly. A more efficient, more transparent, and more inclusive system.
And that's a vision worth supporting.
I think so.
But we do have to talk about the elephant in the room.
What's that?
Market manipulation.
Ah, yes.
We talked about that rug pull rumor earlier.
Right.
How worried should we be about that kind of stuff?
Well, it's a valid concern, especially in the crypto world.
Where things are a little less regulated.
Exactly.
So don't just blindly follow the hype.
Do your own research.
Don't take those insider tips at face value.
Be critical. Think for yourself.
It's like any investment, right?
Yeah. You got to understand the risks.
Don't put in more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. Don't bet the farm.
So I'm curious about your thoughts on this whole partnership model.
Yeah.
Do you think this is something that other crypto projects could follow?
It's definitely an interesting model.
Yeah.
By working with those established players, Velo Labs gets access to all their networks and resources and expertise.
Yeah.
And it gives those traditional institutions a way to, dip their toes into the crypto world.
Without having to go all in.
Exactly. It's a way to kind of hedge their bets.
Yeah. But doesn't that raise questions about the future of decentralization?
It does.
If crypto gets too cozy with traditional finance.
Yeah.
Does it lose its edge?
That's a big question.
Does it just become another tool for the big guys?
It's definitely something to think about.
So the relationship between crypto and traditional finance, it's still evolving.
It's a dance, A
dance?
Like a push and pull between two forces.
Oh, I like that.
Crypto is pushing for disruption, right? A more decentralized system.
Yeah.
But traditional finance has all that history and infrastructure on its side.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
It really is.
Will they coexist?
Who knows?
Will one dominate the other?
It's a mystery.
Or will something totally new come out of all this?
That's what makes this space so exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like watching history unfold in real time.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into Velo Labs.
All right.
We've looked at the challenges, the potential impact, and the bigger picture of what this all means.
It's a lot to digest.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about Velo Labs' vision, their tech, the hurdles they're facing, and now it's time to talk about the price of Velo.
The numbers.
The numbers. What have we seen so far, and what might the future hold?
Well, Velo's price historically has been a bit of a roller coaster. It's just like, the crypto market in general.
Oh, yeah, sure.
We mentioned before, it's gone from an all-time high of $2.06 all the way down to $0.001.
That's quite a swing.
It is quite a range.
Makes you wonder who is buying at the top and selling at the bottom, huh?
I know, right?
But those are just snapshots in time, right?
Yeah.
What could actually influence Velo's price moving forward?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
You've got your usual factors like market sentiment, regulatory news.
Right.
Even just the general buzz on places like Binance Square.
Yeah, remember those price predictions we were talking about?
Yeah, those were wild.
People throwing out numbers like $50, $4, even a new all-time high.
A lot of hype and speculation.
Yeah, and then others were, a bit more cautious.
Right.
Talking about the bearish market sentiment.
It's a good reminder that predicting the future of crypto, it's tough no matter how much data you have.
It's like trying to predict the weather, right?
Exactly.
But what makes Velo different, I think, is that it's not all just speculation.
Right.
The value is tied to how useful the Velo Labs ecosystem actually is.
Exactly. The more people actually use the Velo protocol, the higher the demand for Velo, which could push up the price.
So it's not just about, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
It's about real-world adoption.
Yeah, which is refreshing to see.
It is.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What could go wrong? What are the risks here?
Well, one risk is that they just don't get enough traction with those big financial institutions.
Right, the banks, the money transfer operators.
Exactly. If they're not convinced by the Velo protocol, the whole ecosystem could struggle.
It's like building a bridge that only goes halfway.
Yeah, good analogy.
And even if they do get those partnerships, there's always the threat of regulation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Governments are still figuring out this whole crypto thing.
Yeah.
Any new rules could really shake things up.
So regulation is like the wild card in all of this.
It really is. And then there's the competition.
Right.
Velo Labs isn't the only one trying to do this.
Yeah, it's a crowded space.
Lots of companies, both traditional and blockchain-based.
So even with a great idea and a solid technology, success is not guaranteed.
It's a reminder that crypto is still young.
Yeah.
There will be winners and losers along the way.
So for anyone thinking about investing in this space, got to be careful. Got to do your research.
Absolutely.
But even with all the risks, there's still this excitement, right?
Oh, definitely.
We're watching a new financial era unfold.
It's like being on the frontier.
And companies like Velo Labs they're leading the way.
Pushing the boundaries.
So I think that's what makes this whole deep dive so fascinating.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about making money.
It's bigger than that.
We're talking about how technology can change the world.
Connect people in new ways. Create a more inclusive global economy.
It's exciting stuff.
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Velo Labs, I think we're left with a sense of cautious optimism.
I'd agree with that.
It's got a lot of challenges ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
But their ambition is clear.
And their tech has real potential.
So for our listeners out there, the key takeaway is to stay curious. Keep learning. Keep researching.
The crypto world is always changing.
And Velo Labs is definitely one to watch.
For sure.
Well, that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Velo Labs.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.
See ya.